This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. There have been many things, countless things related to the Donald Trump administration that have been shocking and unusual. But one of the things is the utter lack of soft or hard qualifications for the job. We have seen a litany of individuals with zero government experience trying to act like business experience or business acumen, which they don't even have, is some kind of a substitution for policy. And we've seen qualifications such as connection, social or blood relative relation or in-law relation as some kind of a qualification. Donald Trump's my daddy, so that makes me qualified for an elevated position inside the administration and the White House. Nonsense. Jared Kushner being chief among them. The shadow chief of staff with a laundry list of responsibilities, from the opioid crisis that nothing was done on, to peace in the Middle East, which now they're doing performative measures in a fake, insane bid to try to convince everyone that there's actually a Middle East peace plan. They're signing peace treaties with countries that weren't at war. Well, Jared Kushner was on Fox News this morning and said some horrific things about race relations in the United States, touting the record of Donald Trump, screaming from the rooftops about Donald Trump needing to be elected for another 4 years because of all the good things he's done for people of color in this country. Ignoring the fact, glaringly ignoring the fact that Donald Trump is a virulent white supremacist who from day one in his administration, even prior to becoming president, said some horrific things. And more disturbingly, actually put into practice his disdain for people of color, people who he considers others, a Muslim ban, an absolute white supremacist outlook on our immigration policy. There are concentration camps at our southern border at the behest of Donald Trump. Hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of children who will likely never see their parents again, their only crime being that they were brown and they sought asylum with their parents in the United States. That is white supremacy. Anyway, back to Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner was on Fox and Friends this morning, and there are two clips that I want to talk about. Him saying outrageous things in his campaign swing on cable news.
So, look, there's been a lot of discussion about the issues that were needed in the black community for the last years, but particularly it intensified after the George Floyd situation. And, you saw a lot of people who were just virtue signaling. They'd go on Instagram and cry, or they would, put a slogan on their jersey or write something on a basketball court. And quite frankly, that was doing more to polarize the country than it was to bring people forward. You solve problems with solutions.
Just what people want to hear is a cartoon character, white guy McGee, multi-millionaire, grew up in the lap of luxury with a silver spoon shoved into one of many orifices, talk about what's good for the black community. Jared Kushner. The other thing that I find egregious and offensive is for him to call the murder of George Floyd at the hands of armed agents of the state, for him to call it the George Floyd situation, holding to account no one. A situation is this nebulous thing in the ether. There's no one to blame. It's a situation. It wasn't a situation. it was murder in the streets of Minneapolis that the world witnessed. Jared Kushner, you know nothing. You skillless, feckless clown. And then his assault on what he maligns as virtue signaling. Virtue signaling is a pejorative term for people who cannot conceive of passionate outlooks on social justice and other items. To Jared Kushner, it's inconceivable that people like LeBron James or activists in the street would protest the murder, not the situation, with George Floyd. It must be virtue signaling. They must be trying to score points with their audiences, or with their friends, or their social in-group. It can't be that they truly believe the things they're saying. It must be virtue signaling. Disgusting. Anyway, the interview continues with this just parade of whiteness with zero concern for what actually could be good and solutions for the black community in America.
And again, one thing we've seen in a lot of the black community, which is mostly Democrat, is that President Trump's policies are the policies that can help people break out of the problems that they're complaining about, but he can't want them to be successful more than they want to be successful. And what you're seeing throughout the country now is a groundswell of support in the black community, because they're realizing that all the different bad things that the media and the Democrats have said about President Trump are not true. And so they're seeing that he's actually delivered, he's put up results, and a lot of people want to get on board to start working with President Trump, because they know that, unlike most politicians who have been in Washington for decades, who talk and say all the right things, President Trump may not always say the right things, but he does the right things. He says what's on his mind, and he gets results. And so people want results. They're tired of politicians who are promising things and not delivering.
Well, he does say what's on his mind. He's really good at that.
The problems that they're complaining about, says Jared Kushner. Rich boy, know nothing, do nothing. Jared Kushner. They're complaining about these problems. Not these very real problems, endemic problems, as a result of systemic racism in our country. Not those, they're just complaining about problems. Violence and death at the hands of police at disproportionate rates to that of their white counterparts in America. They're complaining about that. Systemic economic injustice. That the net worth of black families is magnitudes lower than that of white families. They're complaining about it. And then he puts Donald Trump on par with a deity. That it's akin to the statement that God helps those who help themselves. The old adage that actually isn't scripture. That, well, look, Donald Trump's problems, his fixes, they'll help people, but they've got to want to help. They got to want to help themselves. Donald Trump has said many times he is the chosen one. And apparently, either through talking point or actual belief, his nepotistic clown show believes it. Donald Trump has proven time and time again, whether it be shithole countries or his actual policies, that he is a racist. That he is first and foremost concerned with wealthy white people. And he was ushered into office by poorly educated, and poorly financed white Americans. White males, uneducated white males specifically. It's the greatest con job in political history. Anyway, I'd love to know what you think. 714-576-4054. Email me, daily@dollemore.com. I really would love to know what you think. If you're a person of color out there and you watch this, I'm assuming you probably didn't watch it on Fox News, but you just watched it now. What do you think? Am I out of bounds? Am I reading too much into it? All we have to go on are his words, his chosen words. And for me, they give us a glimpse into his attitudes about these things. And when you work at the White House, your words should be scrutinized. Hell, I'm open to scrutiny here, and I'm just a YouTuber. But I'd love to know what you think. The other thing, I would invite you to consider supporting my work here on YouTube for fewer than $2 a month. If you become a channel member, you can help support my work. There are other ways, though. You can buy some merch. I got the new t-shirts. Be genuine and take care of one another t-shirts. That would be a great way to help support the channel. Independent media is very important, and going forward, even once we get rid of Donald Trump, it's going to continue to be important because we're going to want to push the Joe Biden administration to get things done, to not languish in mediocrity and centrism. It is time to finally get some of the things done that we have been talking about and screaming about for 4 years. It's not just about reversing the policy direction of Donald Trump. We can actually make some real progress going forward. Anyway, follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram and Twitter and everywhere that there's social media. I love you guys. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.